Attraction isn't only about looks or money, it's about how someone makes another person feel. And there's one surprisingly powerful tool that most people underestimate: the right nickname. A well-chosen nickname can spark emotion, create intimacy, and trigger instant attraction without saying anything explicit, without trying too hard, and without looking desperate. In this video, you'll discover 9 cute nicknames that quietly build chemistry, connection, and magnetic energy, and the psychology behind why they work. Attraction is built in the details: tone, timing. Here are 9 nicknames that create emotional pull and unforgettable impact. Number 1, beautiful, not casual, not careless, direct, confident. When spoken slowly, it lands like a compliment that stays in the mind all day. Number 2, angel. Soft, protective, emotionally charged. It signals admiration without pressure and builds instant warmth. Number 3, trouble. Playful, mysterious, flirtatious. This one creates a spark of challenge and chemistry at the same time. Number 4, simple, classic, powerful. Used naturally, it triggers comfort, familiarity, and emotional closeness. Number 5, or queen. This isn't a word, it's a statement. It communicates respect, attraction, and confidence in one move. Number 6, sweetheart. Warm, safe, emotionally grounding. It builds connection without trying too hard. Number 7, gorgeous. Not pretty, not cute. It lands with authority and leaves a lasting impression. Number 8, sunshine. Positive, light, emotionally addictive. It makes every interaction feel brighter. Number 9, dream. Subtle, romantic, intriguing. This one activates imagination and emotional curiosity. Attraction is rarely logical. It happens in the emotional brain long before the rational mind even has a chance to process what's going on. That's exactly why nicknames are so powerful. A nickname is not just a word, it is an emotional signal. When someone hears a name that is used only for them, something deep and instinctive activates. It creates a sense of being seen, chosen, and emotionally recognized. This is the foundation of bonding. Compliments feel nice, but they remain on the surface. A nickname, on the other hand, slips past the surface and settles into identity. Once a person begins associating a specific word with feeling valued, desired, and emotionally safe, the brain begins to release dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals responsible for attachment and pleasure. This is why the right nickname can trigger attraction faster than almost any compliment. A compliment can be appreciated and forgotten within minutes. A nickname becomes part of the emotional environment. It becomes a cue. Each time that word is spoken, the emotional memory attached to it is reactivated. Over time, that emotional reaction strengthens. The mind starts to link the feeling of warmth, comfort, excitement, or confidence directly to the person who is speaking the name. This is not coincidence, it is psychology. The brain builds emotional shortcuts. If a certain word consistently makes someone feel good, the brain begins to crave hearing that word again, and more importantly, hearing it from the same voice. That craving is the seed of attraction. There is also an element of exclusivity in nicknames that compliments cannot match. Compliments are universal. Anyone can say you look nice or you're beautiful, but a nickname feels personal. It feels private. It creates a small emotional world that belongs only to the 2 people sharing it. That sense of emotional privacy is incredibly bonding. It signals trust, connection, and a subtle form of intimacy that grows stronger with repetition. The more often the nickname is used in positive moments, the deeper the emotional association becomes. Another reason nicknames work so powerfully is that they influence self-perception. When someone is repeatedly addressed with a word that carries affection, admiration, or warmth, they slowly begin to embody the emotional meaning of that word. The brain adapts to the identity it is being offered. Over time, the person does not just hear the nickname, they start to feel it. And the source of that feeling becomes emotionally significant. Attraction naturally follows. This process is quiet, almost invisible, yet incredibly effective. There is no need for dramatic gestures or constant verbal praise. A well-chosen nickname used with confidence and consistency builds emotional gravity. It creates a subtle pull that grows stronger with time. This is why nicknames do not just decorate attraction, they create it. Attraction is not created by grand gestures or dramatic words. It is shaped in the smallest moments, often without either person consciously noticing it. This is why the right word can completely shift the emotional atmosphere between 2 people. A single word, when chosen correctly and delivered with confidence, can change how a conversation feels, how a moment is remembered, and how one person is emotionally perceived by the other. Words do not simply communicate information, they carry emotional weight. And when that emotional weight is consistent, the mind begins to assign meaning, importance, an attachment to the person delivering it. Every word leaves a psychological imprint. Some words create comfort, some create excitement, some trigger curiosity, some make the heart feel lighter. When the same emotionally charged word is repeated in positive interactions, the brain starts building a pattern. That pattern becomes expectation. Over time, the emotional experience of being around a certain person becomes associated with that specific word. This is where attraction deepens. As the presence of the person becomes emotionally rewarding because the brain has learned to expect a positive emotional response whenever that voice is heard using that word. Attraction is not about the word itself, it is about the emotional state the word repeatedly produces. The right word also controls the emotional tone of an interaction. A neutral conversation can instantly become warmer, more playful, more intimate, or more intriguing depending on the language used. One word can lower emotional defenses, while another can spark interest or build comfort. When someone consistently chooses words that create emotional safety and pleasure, the mind naturally leans toward that presence. Attraction grows in the space where the nervous system feels good. The correct word becomes a tool for shaping that space. There is also a powerful element of memory involved. Emotional experiences are stored more vividly than logical ones. When a word is connected to positive emotional moments, the brain records that connection strongly. Later, even hearing or thinking about that word can trigger the same emotional response. The person who created those experiences becomes associated with that feeling, even in their absence. This is how emotional attachment quietly forms. What makes this process especially effective is its subtlety. It does not rely on pressure, persuasion, or intensity. It works because the brain prefers patterns of comfort and reward. The right word becomes part of that pattern. It turns ordinary interactions into emotionally meaningful ones. Over time, this emotional significance transforms into attraction that feels natural, effortless, and deeply rooted. This is why communication is not just about what is said, it is about how it makes someone feel. A single well-shaped word can influence emotions long after the conversation ends, and when those emotions are consistently positive, the connection grows stronger without either person needing to explain why. Most people focus on what they say and completely ignore how they say it. Yet the emotional impact of a message is shaped far more by tone than by the actual words. Tone is the invisible language that the nervous system responds to before the mind even processes meaning. It carries confidence, calm, intention, playfulness, and emotional security. This is why tone matters more than the nickname itself. The same words spoken with different tone can create entirely different emotional reactions. When tone is relaxed and grounded, it signals emotional stability. The listener's nervous system feels safe. When tone is warm, it creates connection. When tone is playful, it sparks curiosity and lightness. When tone is confident, it triggers attraction. These emotional responses happen automatically. They are not chosen consciously. The body and brain respond before logic steps in. That is why someone can feel drawn to a voice even before fully understanding the conversation. A nickname delivered without emotional alignment feels empty. But when the tone matches the emotional message of the word, it becomes powerful. A soft tone can turn a simple word into comfort. A low, steady tone can make the same word feel grounding and protective. A playful tone can turn it into flirtation. The brain does not separate the word from the tone. It processes them together as one emotional signal. Tone also communicates intention. It reveals confidence or insecurity, certainty or hesitation, presence or distraction. Humans are wired to read these signals instantly. When tone is steady and calm, it suggests inner strength and emotional control that naturally attracts. When tone is rushed or unsure, it weakens the emotional effect of even the best words. The message may be right, but the feeling is wrong, and attraction is built on feeling. There is also an element of emotional leadership in tone. A grounded tone subtly guides the emotional direction of the interaction. It tells the nervous system, this moment is safe, enjoyable, and under control. That sense of emotional direction is deeply comforting and attractive. People are drawn to those who make emotional space feel stable and good. Over time, tone becomes associated with emotional experience. If someone consistently hears a calm, warm, confident tone during positive moments, the brain links that tone to safety, pleasure, and emotional reward. Eventually, just hearing that voice can trigger the same emotional response. This is how emotional attraction strengthens without effort or force. Tone is the bridge between words and emotion. Without it, language remains surface level. With it, communication becomes connection. That is why mastering tone transforms ordinary interactions into emotionally charged ones. It is not about saying the perfect thing, it is about creating the right emotional experience in the moment. Attraction grows where confidence is consistently expressed, not loud confidence. Not forced confidence, but the quiet, grounded certainty that shows up in small choices, steady behavior, and the way someone communicates. Confidence is not about dominance, it is about self-trust. And when that self-trust is present, it becomes emotionally magnetic. This is why confidence amplifies attraction so powerfully. It turns ordinary words, gestures, and moments into something that feels solid, secure, and compelling. When confidence is present, the nervous system of the person on the receiving end relaxes. There is no tension, no need to evaluate, no sense of unpredictability. The interaction feels stable. That sense of emotional stability is one of the strongest unconscious triggers of attraction. Humans are wired to move toward what feels safe and certain. Confidence signals exactly that. It says, this moment is under control. This connection is steady. There is nothing to worry about here. Confidence also shapes perception. The same action performed with confidence carries more weight and meaning. A simple sentence becomes memorable. A small compliment feels significant. A quiet pause feels intentional instead of awkward. Confidence gives structure to the interaction. It turns normal behavior into something that feels purposeful and composed. The brain reads this as emotional strength. Another reason confidence amplifies attraction is that it removes neediness from the equation. Neediness creates pressure. Pressure triggers emotional resistance. Confidence does the opposite. It creates space. When someone is comfortable with who they are and how they show up, there is no urgency, no rush, no emotional pulling. This absence of pressure allows attraction to grow naturally. The connection feels chosen rather than forced. Confidence also communicates self-worth without saying a word. It tells the other person, I value myself and I expect to be valued as well. This quiet message influences how the interaction unfolds. The emotional tone becomes balanced and respectful. Over time, this balance deepens the sense of connection and trust. Attraction thrives in this environment. There is also consistency in confident behavior. Emotional patterns matter to the brain. When someone consistently shows up with calm certainty, the mind learns that this person is reliable. Reliability builds emotional safety. Emotional safety opens the door to deeper attachment and attraction. Perhaps most importantly, confidence makes presence feel stronger. It anchors the moment, it keeps attention focused. It makes every interaction feel fuller and more meaningful. The emotional impact of this presence lingers long after the conversation ends. The brain remembers how it felt to be in that emotional space. This is how confidence quietly magnifies everything it touches. It does not demand attention, it earns it. And once that emotional gravity is felt, attraction begins to grow on its own. Emotional security is built through repetition, not through big moments, dramatic conversations, or sudden confessions, but through the steady rhythm of consistent behavior over time. This is why consistency builds emotional security so powerfully. The human nervous system is designed to look for patterns. When those patterns are stable, predictable, and emotionally positive, the brain relaxes. That relaxation becomes the foundation for deeper connection and attraction. When someone shows up in the same calm, respectful, and emotionally present way again and again, the mind begins to trust the environment they create. There is no guessing, no emotional confusion, no internal tension about what might happen next. The emotional atmosphere becomes familiar and safe. That feeling of safety is not passive, it is deeply magnetic. The heart leans toward what feels steady. Consistency also creates emotional reliability. When behavior, tone, and intention align over time, the brain stops scanning for threats or mixed signals. It no longer needs to protect itself emotionally. That sense of emotional rest allows feelings to deepen naturally. Without consistency, even strong attraction can remain unstable. With consistency, even small connections can grow into something powerful. Another important effect of consistency is that it strengthens emotional memory. The brain remembers repeated experiences far more strongly than one-time moments. When positive interactions happen again and again, they build emotional weight. Over time, that emotional weight becomes attachment. The person becomes associated with a sense of comfort, warmth, and emotional grounding. This association forms the core of emotional security. Consistency also shapes expectations. When someone consistently creates a positive emotional experience, the brain begins to look forward to that experience. Anticipation itself becomes emotionally rewarding. The mind starts craving the feeling of being in that emotional space. This is how attraction quietly intensifies. There is also a subtle message communicated through consistency. You matter enough for me to show up the same way every time. This unspoken message builds trust at a deep level. Trust is not built through promises, it is built through patterns. When patterns remain stable, the heart relaxes into the connection. Consistency does not mean being predictable or boring. It means being emotionally dependable. It means that the energy, respect, and attention offered today will still be present tomorrow. This dependability allows vulnerability to grow. Vulnerability deepens emotional bonding. Emotional bonding strengthens attraction. Over time, emotional security becomes the emotional home of the connection. The mind stops seeking stimulation elsewhere because it already feels fulfilled and safe. This is one of the most powerful forms of attraction, the kind that feels calm, grounded and deeply rooted rather than intense and unstable. This is why consistency is not just a trait, it is an emotional experience. And when that experience feels good, attraction grows stronger without effort. Attraction rarely grows from intensity alone. In fact, too much intensity too fast often creates pressure, confusion, and emotional resistance. What truly pulls people closer is subtlety, the quiet, almost invisible way connection deepens over time. Subtlety is powerful because it allows emotions to unfold naturally, without force, without expectation, and without overwhelming the nervous system. This is why subtlety is more powerful than intensity. The human mind is highly sensitive to emotional pressure. When something feels heavy, urgent, or overwhelming, the brain shifts into defense mode. Walls go up, curiosity closes, attraction weakens. Subtlety avoids this entirely. It moves gently, it gives space. It invites rather than pushes. This invitation creates comfort, and comfort allows attraction to breathe and grow. Subtle actions carry emotional depth because they feel genuine. A small moment delivered with care can leave a stronger impression than a dramatic gesture. A quiet word, a calm pause, a soft smile, these things linger in memory because they feel real. The brain does not attach meaning to noise, it attaches meaning to feeling. Subtlety creates feeling without overstimulation. Another reason subtlety is so effective is that it activates imagination. When everything is obvious and intense, the mind has nothing to explore. But when emotions are hinted at rather than declared, curiosity awakens. The mind begins to fill in the emotional space on its own. This internal involvement deepens emotional investment. What the mind helps create, it becomes attached to. Subtlety also builds emotional safety. There is no rush, no pressure to respond, no demand for immediate reaction. This lack of urgency relaxes the nervous system. When the nervous system is relaxed, openness increases. Openness allows emotional bonding. Emotional bonding strengthens attraction. Over time, subtle interactions create emotional layering. Each small positive moment adds to the emotional foundation of the connection. These layers accumulate quietly, yet their impact is profound. Attraction grows not because of a single powerful event, but because of many small, meaningful ones. Subtlety communicates confidence as well. It suggests emotional control, patience, and self-assurance. There is no need to impress, no need to convince. The connection is allowed to unfold at its own pace. This calm certainty is deeply attractive because it feels grounded and secure. Perhaps the greatest strength of subtlety is that it feels effortless. When something feels effortless, it feels natural. When it feels natural, the heart trusts it. Trust opens the door to deeper emotional attachment. This is why subtlety outperforms intensity. It does not overwhelm, it draws in. It does not demand, it invites. And in that quiet invitation, attraction grows stronger than any dramatic display ever could. That's the power of connection done right. When words, energy, and presence align, attraction stops being something you chase and becomes something that naturally stays.